Big talk for someone who's also on a leash.
What's up, gang? Back again with another shipping video that isn't actually a shipping video. It's a theory video. Because why not? As the most tantalizing mystery has got going for it, Alastor has revealed to not be the one-man wrecking crew he claims to be. For all of his power, all of his style, he just might be trapped in the service of a higher, darker power. Who is definitely Lilith.
Oh, come on. It's obvious.
Like, come on, out of all the potential suspects that aren't deep Bible cuts, Lilith is really the only possibility here. Except that's a lie, because there's one other option. Someone who has a much closer connection to enslavement versus the breaker of chains that Lilith was made out to be. We'll have plenty of time to talk about the other woman in a bit. First, let's talk about the radio demon and his supposed muse, as that 7-year timing is just way too convenient to be a coincidence. So just gonna get this out here, despite his choke them energy, Alastor is an asexual aromantic. He's not banging anybody in this show. Again, deal breaker. It's just not his style. However, this Mississippi murderer is one of the constant enigmas of the Has-Been Hotel. A serial killer in life, Alastor would go on to die, and then would go on to become Hell's #1 podcast, rising to become one of the most notorious overlords Hell had ever seen. With this rise actually being a shock to everyone, as by all accounts, he was punching way above his pay grade. Usually, you had to work your way up or slowly amass power to challenge another overlord. But Alastor pretty much showed up and started kidnapping/killing people. And these weren't just people, these were other overlords, with him broadcasting his victims' screams across the radio. Because that was a thing back then. Like it is now. Now, no one really knows what Alastor's deal is. His powers can be best described as voodoo bullshit. We have no real set idea for what he can do until he does it. But the anomaly that he is, this lowly sinner turned eldritch abomination, could be explained by one neat little idea. That he didn't do it alone. If Alastor had help, maybe a little magic from somebody who enjoyed watching his chaos, then suddenly, all of Alastor's feats start to sound just a little bit more feasible, with the current and most likely candidate for his patron being Lilith herself. Now, Lilith is an even bigger mystery than Alastor. Even flashbacks make a point to not show her face, building up her presence as something otherworldly in a world that already is insane. But Lilith would be a fitting patron for Alastor, as on one hand, she would have more than enough power to spare. Being one of, if not the first sinner, then Lilith would have been on the ground floor to build up her power and rule over Hell, something that's been confirmed that she did in the past, as Lucifer was too bummed out by all the murderers to really take charge. Lilith was apparently the one who really helped guide Hell into what it is today. She went from the first wife of Adam to the first ruler of Hell, which honestly, not too shabby. But things apparently didn't keep going so great, as Heaven, believing that Hell was going to rise up against them, started ordering the exterminations, meaning Hell had to deal with a yearly genocide. So suddenly, not only were they the host to the worst souls known to man, but now only the clever or the strong could survive these purges, and those who were still around would take advantage of those who were left, which would create a bit of a problem, as if everyone was fighting everyone for control, then the chaos of Hell would only get worse, leaving the apparent dream of Hell being a nice-ish place to fizzle out. This would be where Alastor could come in. If Lilith ever needed to take care of troublemaking overlords but not have it lead back to her, hiring a serial killer and giving him power would be one hell of a way to get rid of your unwanted enemies. There'd also be a very interesting thematic touch to the two of them working together. Lilith was known to fill Hell with her music and her songs, implying that she had some kind of music-themed power. This would match up well with Alastor's radio theme, as both these powers, when you want to get technical, involve audio traveling over the airwaves. And to make that even more fitting, Alastor was also filling Hell with his music, only he's doing it with the screams of his victims. Not to everyone's taste, but it is still music to some people. This would be a neat way to foreshadow the two of them working together. And this is all, of course, on top of the fact that Alastor's 7-year sabbatical lines up perfectly with Lilith's disappearance 7 years ago. They both dropped off the face of Hell one day, with Alastor only recently returning and refusing to elaborate. Alastor and Lilith working together in some capacity would shed a whole new light on his decision to work with Charlie, to support her dream and keep an eye on her, all while maybe under the guise of saying this, oh, this is for my own amusement, when really he's just here doing his boss a solid. But given how prickly he is when he's reminded of his debt/enslavement, I get the distinct sense that his Boss and him don't have a very cordial relationship. So while it's nice to imagine Alastor has secret good boy intentions, the truth will probably, hopefully, be a little bit more complex. The pilot has him stare at a picture of Lilith's family. He had a near unprovoked beef with Lucifer, who, while Lilith's husband, they apparently separated, so Alastor might have a reason to hate the guy on Lilith's behalf. However, for all the fun ways we can imagine how Alastor is connected to Lilith, how he got the powers from her, explaining why he would take an interest in Charlie, one thing still remains unexplained: Lilith's absence. Why is she gone, and what would she have to gain from just disappearing, abandoning her people, her kingdom, and her daughter? There's like no real obvious gain for her to just vanish, unless she was trying to force Charlie to grow up and mature and become the leader of hell, but that's a little too anime for my taste, so I'm not really buying it. We could explain Lilith's disappearance by Alastor betraying her, but he's still got his powers, so he's probably still on someone's leash. However, while we don't know what Lilith would have to gain by disappearing, we do know someone who would have a lot to gain and an even bigger motive to get rid of her, not to mention the means. As why risk an open fight when you've empowered a sinner, then had them practice kidnapping the untouchable for years, all in preparation to bag Hell's ultimate prize, the Queen? What if the person who owns Alastor's soul isn't Lilith, but Eve, Adam's second wife, and the one she tricked into eating the apple, which cost her paradise and dooming her to hell for eternity? We know Eve exists in this story, appearing in the prologue, but while every other character from that has appeared even if just in flashbacks, Eve has been mysteriously absent and unmentioned, which is strange when you think about it. Eve was Adam's wife, yet we know for a fact that he's a fuckboy who sleeps around heaven, so unless they broke up or he's cheating, she's probably not there. It seems like a strange situation even for angels who are so used to turning a blind eye to such things. Adam went to heaven, he ate the apple, but no one knows what gets you sent there. So there's a distinct possibility that Adam, just following Eve's lead, still got to go to heaven, while Eve, as the one who took the first bite, got sent to hell. So now trapped in a wasteland with nothing to do but watch your husband's ex and the guy whose advice got you here build a kingdom, become rich and powerful beyond Hell's wildest dreams, all while Eve at her best could only carve out a small niche for herself. That would be the beginning of a crazy revenge story. One that you could use to explain not just Lilith's disappearance, but maybe even the nature of the exterminations themselves. As far from waiting thousands or millions of years to off the woman who ruined your life, you might want to start by killing her dream first. The reason the extermination started, according to Sayre, was that they believed Hell was organizing an uprising against them. The suggestion that they should kill everyone was Adam's, but the question of who told Heaven about this supposed revolt is still up in the air. It's by no means a sure thing, but if we are in a biblical let's blame everything on the woman kind of mood, Eve could have been the one to spread the lie, to turn heaven against hell, and to turn into a mess that has to deal with genocide every year. But imagine doing all that work, setting all this up, only for Lucifer to get Lilith and Charlie a pardon, meaning that they can't be killed. And to add insult to injury, they end up having the kid, which until the show started, allegedly it was impossible for sinners to do. But Carmilla has them, so who knows at this point. But if we want petty revenge, why not go full petty? Eve deciding to take a more direct approach could bring Alastor in as her hired help, giving him power while having him practice on Hell's upper echelons, for them to then try and pull the same trick on Lilith. But then, what I'm thinking is that something went wrong. Rather than just the usual kidnapping, Alastor got hurt, and had to spend the last 7 years recovering, as apparently sinners can bring themselves back together as referenced by Velvet. But while Alastor got hurt, Lilith and Eve continued to be MIA. But Alastor can take people's souls, so it's likely that other demons can do so as well, with there now being the distinct possibility that Eve is holding Lilith's soul hostage for her own amusement. I'm basing this idea on nothing. Just the fact that I think it would be cool, and that the Alastor and Lilith's connection is so obvious that it feels like there has to be a twist. Though Vaggie is an angel, so who knows? The one final tidbit that I think thematically would make Eve a more likely person to make a deal with Alastor and to own his soul is the idea of freedom. Lilith's claim to fame is being Adam's first wife, the one who refused to be subservient, while Eve was apparently created from Adam's rib. Eve was made to obey Adam, to be his wife, his slave. It would be a little off theme for Lilith, breaker of chains and vows, to turn around and chain Alastor to her will. But if we're doing the Disney hero to villain angle, then it would be darkly fitting for Eve to force someone else into her old position, to become what she might have hated and to be the new villain of a story where heaven and hell might be getting closer to peace. As she, more than anyone, would want to have both places burned to the ground. as heaven made her for someone else and then failed her, and hell's gift turned out to be a curse. So if we're gonna have anybody be the Marvel-style stinger in Hasbin's finale, my money is definitely going on Eve. But that's just my theory. Thank you all for watching. This has been Sarcastic Chorus. Let me know what you guys think. I know this video might be irrelevant in a week, but figured might as well get it out now. As if I'm right about this. Oh, that would be so good. But again, like, share, and subscribe. Love you all. Peace out.